Hello, everyone. This is TTP Chats, aka Trust the Process, and today I'm going to be talking about why being a part of a group is overrated. And let me start by saying this, right? Let me just put out a little disclaimer to give you a better understanding of where I'm coming from. I'm not saying you can't ask for help from others. I'm not saying that you don't have to have some sort of friend group or whatever, right? I'm just saying, if you're gonna have a couple people that you trust, right? Even though the ultimate trust goes to God, right? I'm saying your circle should be very, very, very small, minute, right? And being a part of a group, right? When you are a part of a group, it's just now you have to identify with said group and what their approach is and what their and how they dictate things or how their values are. And it's just at the end of the day, you're an individual, right? And you should think like an individual. You should have your own thoughts and opinions, your own type of approach to certain things, right? And then, frankly, you see a lot of groups, excuse me, you see a lot of groups such as gangs, fraternities, all these other things that it's just so hive-mindish, or being a fanatic, which is going to be another video that I'm going to discuss at a later date. But it's just so hive mind, so echo chamber like, to the point where you cannot come to a table, even if you disagree with somebody, right, about certain things. Coming to the table and having what do you call that? Having a concise and professional, right, a cordial conversation, a debate about certain things. It doesn't happen because you being associated with a group, you got to think like how the rest of them think, or else they look at you as an outsider, or else they look at you as a person that's not a part of a team. First of all, this is life, and the truth of the matter is you was born by yourself. Twins, yeah, okay, exception. But at the end of the day, you're an individual person. You are been blessed with the free will from God to choose whatever path you want to go, right? God, you want to choose the path of righteousness, you follow God. If you don't, then guess what? You stray away from God and you suffer the consequences. But at the end of the day, you're an individual. You have your own individual thoughts. You have your own individual mindset. You are in control of your life, and you lead your life. You are the leader, right? Now, when it comes to groups, right, you don't really necessarily need them at all, because at the end of the day, it's your life. You decide what path you're going to go down. I prefer being a loner, because at the end of the day, being stuck in a group, all of a sudden you're kind of in the in crowd, like you see nowadays. Now everybody seems bunched up in a group, and they say, "Oh yeah, we all stick together," right? But when you try to question the group, right? And a group can be, when I say group, it can be many various things in society. But when you try to question the group and its approaches, right, all of a sudden you're wrong. You can even be calling out certain members of said group for the wrongdoings. But if you go against the group, all of a sudden you're the enemy. They live in this mindset, people who like to call them, there's a term for it, groupies, right? I know the term is associated with, celebrities sleeping with fans, but groupies is basically the same as a group of fanatics, right? When you're in a certain group, right, and you disagree with said group, guess what, right? You are looked at as the enemy, because all for one and one for all and all this nonsense or whatever. At the end of the day, you was born in this world alone. right? I'm not saying you can't have friends. I'm not even saying you can't have people you're close with, right? But you gotta keep them small. You gotta keep them very, very tight knit, because at the end of the day, not everybody's your friend. This is a big world, and guess what happened? You got problems. Guess what? Everybody else got problems. Nobody's particularly gonna care about your problems, right? Not everybody's gonna be a friend. Some people who come into your life, they're just come into your life, just try to use you, right? And at the end of the day, if you're an individual, right, you have your own individual mindset, right? You have your own individual thoughts, and you have your own way of doing certain things, right? That's why shout out to Mr. Keep It Simple. No collabs, right? When you're trying to build success for your life, the success is going to be built upon the things that you put in. Again, it's good to have help here and there. It's good to take advice from people who've been there and you're trying to go where they've been at. Nothing wrong with that. But to rely on a group to bail you out of your whole situation is nonsense. Because at the end of the day, At the end of the day, the only person that can pull you out of the muck is actually two people. The only person that can solve your problems and pull you out of your problems and pull you out of your situation is you and God. God provides you the tools. It's up to you to dictate what you're going to do with those tools. Relying on a group is futile, because then, to me, it's a crutch, because they're not always going to be there. It's been the story since the beginning of time. The group will kick out the people who don't uphold or follow their values and all this other nonsense, right? At the end of the day, it's better to be an individual, right? The better to stand on your own and get your own, right? You can help out people here and there, but at the end of the day, you are one person. You are an individual, and you should think like an individual, right? And then help out everybody else, right? You can't help nobody if you don't got yourself together. That's just a fact of life, How are you going to help somebody with anything if you don't have your stuff in order? Being a part of a group sometimes can make you just another cog into the machine, right? That's why, and then another example, I'm going to go in depth on another video about this, but another example, when it comes to group, whenever it's fanatics, right? Gangs, clubs, whatever, right? But specifically gangs, right? They always have a certain leader, right? Where you got to follow their orders. The leaders dictate how much you're going to get, whether it's food or money, gangs or whatever. They dictate, they are in charge. You got to follow it. And it's just, as me personally, I have no time for that. That's why I'm a loner. I don't have time to have another grown man to tell me what to do, how much I'm getting, and how much food I'm going to get. Absolutely not. The only person I follow is God and Jesus. So if you're over here telling me, oh, yeah, you get this cut, why split this pie? This is a phrase. Why split this pie when I can have the whole pie? Why only get 20% when I can have 100%? Because I put in my work, I did my own thing, and I was able to create something for myself. And then I can put somebody else on game and show them how to do it, so they can create their own little platform or whatever they want to do, right? That's just my take on it. Because at the end of the day, some people will try to collab in a group, right, just to leech off some of the things because they don't got nothing going on. I think it's better to take inspiration from others, right, and utilize it in your own way to make it work for you, and to think like an individual instead of being a part of a group where, oh, we're solely dependent on each other, but at the same time, it's better to be independent than dependent. That's going to be another video. But yeah, thank you.